and welcome to my channel. I am Joy, and I love the fact that I've given myself the name Joy because I feel like most of the time that's kind of just the state of being that I'm in. I just feel very joyful and very happy, and would love to share some of that with you guys. So I have today, I'm gonna try, fingers crossed, to do a daily, oh my gosh, what is going on with me? Daily uploads on this channel. I'm gonna try to give it a go. If you guys really want to see me every day, my channel Katie's Insight is where I do stimulus news, financial news. I'm trying to help you guys find stimulus money in your areas and give you up-to-date information. So make sure and go there, subscribe, and hit notifications. Notifications are big over there because when breaking news comes where you can get money, especially in your area, which I've been detailing across the United States, you want to make sure to be the first people to get it. So I want you guys to get it because if not, sometimes it's the first people that apply will get it and then they run out of funds. So make sure and subscribe and hit notifications and go support that channel if you would like to. But on this one, I'm just going to kind of take it easy. That one, I put 2-3 uploads a day. It's really tiring, so I literally just don't have a ton of energy for this channel. And this channel used to be not as friendly, I guess, as it used to be, or as maybe I'm trying to make it now. It was a little more controversial. Didn't mean for that to happen. It's just kind of the figure I turned into. So it takes YouTube time to monetize my videos and all of that. But so some things are going to be, just more kind of opinion pieces, I guess. And I think this is going to be one of those. And this is just something I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to celebrate because this is something I'm excited about. So. So anybody who's watched my channel before or knows anything about me in the past being on YouTube, I was a very controversial figure. I talked a lot about chronic health issues. I still do, by the way. And by the way, I know some people still might get a little bit irritated by that. I understand it. And I understand if this isn't for you. This is such a big part of my life, and it's something that I really want to bring awareness to and try to help on whatever level that I can, so it will be something that I do talk about. But I can also understand for people who don't go through that, or you're not hindered by that, you don't want to hear about that often. I get that, right? So no disrespect, no shade, do what you have to do for you. But I encountered a lot of trolling, a lot of negativity. I believe a lot of it, the bulk of it, most of it was unfair. Some I understand why people had some issues. There were some mistakes I made, and then there were just nonstop blatant lies all the time, especially about my health. Oh my goodness, people just really thought I was the biggest liar. What were the terms I heard? Munchausen. I gained 170 pounds in front of people, so people thought the person I'm living with, what they call him, a feeder. I had to learn about all these things. And it was there's a lot of stuff that happened if you're new and you weren't aware. And I've come back to this channel and I figured out what was wrong with my health. And in that I was able to fix my weight, and I'm just a much more healthy, balanced, happy person because of that. We don't really talk in society enough about how much chronic illness will affect mental health because we don't really give credence to health issues in this society, unfortunately. It's looked at more as a weakness. But I wanted to talk about something that I was kind of proud of myself about, honestly. And it comes to dealing with some of the trolling type of people. I feel really blessed because most of those people have kind of left me alone. They've tried, but guys, I've got really strong filters on both channels for my comment section. So, I've learned now to remove, the really nasty negative things. I've had to learn the psychology of how some of this works. And it's hard because I don't want to do a video and give too much attention to what's happened, because if you give attention to it, it can come back. But I thought I would talk about something that I was really happy about, and something that I think a lot of people who go through chronic illness or grow up in kind of dysfunctional or toxic families with trauma go through. And one thing you might have seen from me in the past was being defensive, which I fully admit, especially when I came back the second time, I was super defensive, I was angry. But another thing was always trying to over-explain and over-justify. This is something and by the way, shout out to all of you wonderful people back then who tried to tell me about these things. I remember several people bringing this up. Understand, I wasn't trying to say you were wrong, and I wasn't trying to ignore what you were saying. I could see the truth in it and not know how to apply it. Does that make sense? Like, how you can know something, but it doesn't really click in your system as how to make it workable, functional truth for you. It doesn't click on that deep level, but you can hear something and know it's correct. You can know the information without it clicking. And that's where I've been with a lot of this. And a lot of what's helped me gain perspective and get some self-reflection, self-awareness was getting better. I was so sick. It was really difficult to be able to really decipher and see what was going on, because there was just so much going on in here with the chronic pain, with the heart issues, trying to keep myself alive, knowing what was going on, everybody telling me there was nothing wrong. But I was really proud of myself about a couple things. I think I've taken a couple big steps forward in this area, and I wanted to talk about it. So the first one I'm going to talk about very lightly, because I don't want to give this a person too much attention, but actually all of it. So first of all, like I said, a lot of the people who were really mean to me have actually written me and been very nice. Some were even like, I'm sorry, I was wrong to do what I did. And I appreciate that. One thing I've said about if I ever came back, because I really never entertained coming back. I thought one day, if I were able to, I'd come back and do a video and just update everybody. But I thought if I ever do something like this in this area of YouTube, I have to come back dramatically different. And unfortunately, because we are visual people and we can still be very shallow in the society, I was like, I have to come back looking, maybe not, it wouldn't be as thin as I comfortably want. I'm still about, I would say, I'm about 30 to 50 pounds away from that. Like, honestly. And I've seen some really sweet comments being like, don't lose too much weight. And I appreciate it. But you know, I'm 5'2", 5'2.5", and right now I'm sitting at about 145. So I would like to get, you know, I go back between like 145 to 150, somewhere in there right now. I would like to get between 110 to 100 pounds, somewhere in there. So, and I know I can do it. I've been in that place before. What were they saying? I'm losing my train of thought. But, you know, I knew I would have to come back looking dramatically different from what I did for people to take any possible changes seriously and take me seriously. And unfortunately, this is not only are we kind of a shallow society visually, but this is the crux that's always put on women. But then let's also, like, let me be fair. The dramatic change in my appearance was crazy. It was crazy, and it was very quick. It did make me sad, though, because I look back on those videos and I feel like it was, at least to me, it looks very obvious. It looked like something was wrong. I didn't just look fat, right? I didn't just look obese. It looked like something was wrong. Something was wrong. And it makes me sad that so many people decided just to attack me on my appearance, even though many of these same people scream body positivity. It's so silly. But this is what I wanted to talk about. So I've had a lot of people commenting, and to those of you who've come forward and apologized, or even the people who are kind of hating, who have backed off or been nice, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I had one comment recently, and I'm not gonna like, I don't want to give the person attention. I don't want to detail it. It was nice, but it was a very backhanded compliment. It wasn't nice. It was backhanded. There were some nice things, and then it was a lot of like assumptions that are lies, basically. And I've had a few of those. Like, let's be clear, I've had a few of those, especially on this channel. And you know, I did that Shane Dawson video, and that didn't make a lot of people happy, and that's fine. Some people, like, and a lot of you guys kind of understood where I was coming from. Some people didn't, and it's, you know, no shade, no disrespect, I get it. We're all in different places. But I have had some of the people, even though the majority of them have calmed down and been really nice, there have been a few that are still kind of nasty. And there was this comment that this person left, and it was something to the extent of, good job on the weight loss, you look better, you look healthier, and then this time around, don't lie about all these different points that were never lies. And some of these are very easily provable. And here's what I started doing. I started like furiously writing out a comment, right? And not, when I say furiously, I mean, I type quickly just in general, but like I started writing out a comment and trying to dispute everything, and even like getting literature and citation for things. And then I got to the end of it, and you know, who you guys know, his roommate came in the room, and I was telling him, you know, I was like, this kind of irritates me. And then I just deleted the comment, and I'm like, it's better to just delete it. He's like, you know, that's a really big step forward. And I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, well, before you've been in this constant place of survival mode and fight and flight, and you felt like you always had to prove yourself to people. And that's something that, you know, we've talked about, and I tried to help you work on. And he's like, and it's really healthy, actually. And this is true. If you look at psychology and stuff, it's a really healthy way of dealing with something, is if somebody does something or says something, respond without responding to them. So for instance, I type out the comment, then I delete it. or, have a 5-minute conversation where you feel like you're telling them what you think, right? And then you let it go. Funny enough, even in some of like the new age or spiritualities that I've been a part of, or like, the witchcraft type of spiritualities like Wiccan and pagan, that's a kind of a ritualistic thing. Write down everything you think and then throw it in flames and let it go. Kind of like a little ritual, or even if rituals though not the right word, being able to get that out in a way that's not going to create more negativity for your life, and in a way where you can try to let it go or transmute it. That's a big word, transmute the energy in the new age culture type of stuff. But and I looked at what this person is saying, and I was like, and they were making a lot of points about my health, a lot of points about things I was lying about, and I was like, but per what I have, this is all provable. There's only a couple things that are more like conjecture of it's more of an opinion they had. It's still not true, but it hurts when people consistently lie about you. But then I started going deeper with it. I was like, why am I so ready to prove myself and justify? When you don't have to. You don't have to justify yourself. You don't have to justify anything. Now, it's one thing if you, go and hurt people and you want to try to make amends, right? And then you're trying to, explain yourself or try to, make things right. But at the end of the day, I'm 36 years old. Why do I feel the need to over-explain or justify myself to people? Why do I do that? And something came up, and I don't want to give this person too much attention either, but I just recently had a surprise encounter with a family member. And I'll tell you guys, there's almost no contact there. They are not good people for me. I won't go too much into detail about it, because again, I don't want to give them too much attention. And this is their stuff to deal with. I'm letting them go and washing my hands of it. I've tried for years with them, but they have consistently put me in really detrimental life, altering, could put me off the planet spots. And I had a family member reach out, and one of the close ones, and I thought somebody had died, and we had about an hour conversation, and I was pretty defensive and pretty hard. And I make, no bones about that. And I also have no apology for that. For everything these people have done, they don't, I've also learned some people don't deserve your kindness. And you have to be careful with that, because sometimes people, you give them an inch, they'll take your whole body. And that's kind of how it works with some of these people. But we had a conversation, and, for about an hour, and we brought up the health stuff. And here were the things I brought up. I said, you guys, the person I was speaking to said, well, you have to understand, we didn't know what was going on. I said, you chose not to know what was going on. You knew something was going on. For years, I had this extreme asthma and allergies, and I had immune system issues. Doctors had explained that. You guys knew. So you just chose not to believe, and it was, well, we didn't know the extent. I said, I told you guys. Because it was, well, you didn't tell us. No, I told you guys. Nobody believed me. Nobody believed me about how bad things were. And the problem was, I would have flare-ups, and then at times it wasn't as bad. Now, the consistent asthma and allergies for many years of my young life was always bad and always a concern and an issue, but different things. And I realize now those were flare-ups, right? But there were so many signs I look back on now, and I can see, I can see what led to where my diagnoses are. And that's, really common with people who have mystery illness or chronic illness. And if they're lucky enough, like I was lucky enough to figure out what it was. And so in talking, I had said a couple statements, and in regard to that, it was, basically the person, I think they had said something to the effect of, and it was a long conversation, so I'm kind of paraphrasing, but they had said something to the effect of, well, where did you blah, blah, blah? Like, where did you try to say things? And I'm just like, I'm not going to sit here and justify all my young life of screaming for help and nobody listening. And also, I'm old enough, I don't have to prove anything to anybody. So no, I'm not going to do that. If you are choosing not to remember, you've blocked things out, that's on you. It's not up to me to be your conscience. And I realize where this comes from. It comes from years. There are two places, and this is very interesting. Maybe it's not interesting to you, but it's interesting to me. And one of those things, a big thing, is that when it came to my family, they didn't believe me about being sick. They were people that, even though they knew I am not a thief, I'm not a criminal, I'm not an addict, I'm not, promiscuous in a way that's going to hurt me and other people. No disrespect to people, but you understand what I'm saying? You're responsible, right? I'm not, or at all at that point. I am not a habitual liar. In fact, I was a pretty good kid like you never had to worry about where I was or what I was doing. Like I was always just like I was kind of like I am right now in the sense of I've always had that, like I would say probably right around 13, 14, that drive in me to try to succeed and be the best at things turned on. So I was always like working towards being the best person I could be, or being the best at my field of whatever it was, like trying to expand upon whatever gifts or things that I had. I was always really big in that, right? um and that was always my focus, and they knew that, and yet they always downplayed if I told them how sick I was, didn't believe me, didn't listen. Sometimes they would say certain things of, mental illness, but then if I would ask for help with it, thinking, okay, well, if this is mental illness, let's get help, I would be told, no, we're not going to go do that. I remember there were there were three things that happened in my life when I was younger. And there, now, in regard to this, I will say there is an interesting part to this. I was on a medicine that was very new, that was introduced, I think it was in 97 or 98. This is something I just learned of. I had the two most depressing years of my life where I really contemplated how to remove myself from the planet between like 13 to 14 years old. To this day, the darkest time of my life. And I've always looked back and gone, why did that get so bad? Why was that so amped up? And when I realized it was this medication I was on for actually the asthma and allergy situation, it's now one of the side effects is wanting to leave and act upon leaving the earth. Please and for, I have to be very careful what I say because YouTube will get upset. And I understand YouTube's got its policies, so I'm trying to talk around that. But even then, I remember going and saying, hey, I've got this issue. I'm so sad, something's wrong, and I don't want to be here. And I was told, we're not going to get you help. We are not getting you help. In fact, I remember going to one person and they just said, oh, quit it, shut up, nobody wants to hear it. You think we aren't upset too? You think we aren't upset? You think we're not tired? Get over it. And the other person said, so listen, you have a history of people being crazy in your family. I'm not going to allow you to be the crazy person. I am not going to spend my time and my energy or my money to go do that for you. Now go and take that energy and channel it into something else. So if you want to go and, get more music lessons or do this or do that, we can do that. But otherwise, no, I'm not going to help you. So these same people that screamed, you are mentally wrong, refused to get me the help when it came up. Funny enough, it was when I got off that medication that all of those, the depth of those feelings went away. And it was, in fact, it was over the last year that I had done some research and I'd done research because of histamine disorder, and I saw this medicine was regularly, prescribed for people with histamine issues, which is what I have, which is what that asthma and allergy misdiagnosis was. It was a symptom, not a cause. In fact, I think the majority of my family suffers from histamine imbalance. They don't know it. Because I'm the most severe case, right? There are other cases that flare up or are bad here and there, and some that are a little bit worse, but I'm like the most severe. And I think not being believed for so long, not because of your actions or anything you've done. And I'm talking about even when I was very young. I'm not just talking about the teen years. I'm talking about being 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, telling them my heart feels weird. Oh, you're just excited. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about from a very young age, nobody took me seriously. And I think because of that, I always feel like I have to fight to justify things that I say. And I'm ready for people to say, I don't believe you, even if there's no reason for it or just out of opinion, because I'm so used to the people who are supposed to be there and who are supposed to protect me. They are the ones inflicting the pain and hurting me and telling me shut up and deal with it. And we don't believe you. And there was no reason for that. And that was one big thing we talked about. I said, to this family member, I said, you did a lot of damage in my life because you told everybody in the family stories about me and you made things up about me that aren't true, that there's nothing wrong with me. I have mental issues and all these things. You made these things up and you pushed it so far. You then made those people distance themselves from me, and you isolated me from any possible help I could have while trying to get better with this with what I've now found out. And the person was like, well, that's what we thought was going on. I said, but why would you do that? Why would you spread all that negativity about somebody who's not a bad person? Like, and at the end of the day, it's because they don't have enough respect for me as a human being to care, to make me comfortable, or want to keep me alive. Now, point number 2. feel like maybe I'm talking a little bit too much about my personal life, but at the same time, meh, it's my channel. I don't care. And I'm looking at this now where I've come out of this in a good way. So there's good to this, right? It's not just doom and gloom. But here was the second thing. I think I've told you guys. I found out I was a child that wasn't wanted. If any of you have gone through this, it is not a good feeling. I found out at 8 years old, and the adults were mean about it. And then later it was reiterated to me. And they would reiterate it in the middle of like family dinners. Like, and we're talking like big extended family Christmas dinners. How soul crushing. So what I found out was my and I don't want to go too much into detail, but my mother, again, histamine issues running in our family, has some kind of issue with latex issues. So in terms of procreation, my mom didn't want to do it because she also knew birth controls in our family kind of make us sick. Like I said, some people get sick from these birth controls. For some people, they have hormonal issues. It works great for them. More power to you. But for a lot of women, it also makes us sick. And so I was a bet. Well, we can do certain things in this certain way and you won't get pregnant. And I was a bet and everybody lost. Because my father didn't want me as a result, and my mother was, I was born out of resentment. And when you find that out at a young age, and it wasn't just that I found out, it was the way that I was treated in the family. My father consistently ignored me. He would make sure and do all these fun connecting things with my sister and not invite me. This was a very big theme. I even remember, I have the memories of trying to come to him like I needed something, and he would walk away and just completely ignore me, but not do that to my sister. And the way that I was treated, it was very much abandonment and neglect. I was left alone most days by myself for hours at a time. And that we were kids of 80s and the 90s. That could happen, where you come home after school by yourself for an hour. But I mean, like, it would be a lot of times situations, and it could be could be almost the whole weekend. It would be situations where, my sister would go to her friend's house, and then we didn't have dad in the house because they split up. And so my mom would go off with a boyfriend, go out to eat, wasn't invited. And not every time, right? But many times. They would go out drinking. And so I would come home, and my mom would come home for just a few minutes, get ready, leave. My sister would throw her bag down, leave, or she would just go, with somebody else and get off at their school bus stop. And I would be alone till midnight, 1, 2, and this was a very consistent thing. In my family, not every member, but like the close ones, like my mother, there were very few things where we're going to do things that are just fun for the kids. It was more like you can tag along to what the adults are doing. And there were a lot of other things, in there where it was very much left out. And it was kind of like, I feel like I was always the tag along that nobody really wanted information. Things were always kept from me. It was just a really weird dynamic. And I grew up in many ways feeling like, I'm getting almost emotional saying this, I had to justify my existence. So between people not wanting to help me or believe me that much with my illness and what's happening, and not being wanted, and that being a very prevalent thing that was very shown throughout my childhood and even today, that still goes on. That's really, really hard. And to feel like you constantly have to justify, I exist and I should be loved and appreciated and accepted. Now, it's one thing if you have a bunch of issues that are toxic or detrimental to people, but that wasn't the case with me. In fact, what I had to learn to do was kind of be a communicator and an entertainer. I think that's part of why I really jumped into the entertainment arts, singing and communication and film and all of that, because I felt like I had to constantly be bringing something. I'm a people pleaser, and I think part of that comes from I felt like, well, I have to be pleasing you. I have to have a reason to justify getting your love or being around you. And that inner thing was a really toxic thing that transpired in my life and made me attract all the wrong people into my life for so many years. And so I was really proud of myself with that conversation recently with that family member. And I was also really proud of myself when I've done this a few times. I'll start to write out a really long comment and then I just delete because I'm like, what's the point? If this person really just wants to choose to believe that I am these things, I've already seen people like this. I can come at you with every evidence. I can come at you with every single thing to prove what I'm saying. And you will still find a way to be hurtful because you want to. And that's, you know what, if that's where you're at, that's fine. That's your business. And it's not that everybody has to believe everything I'm saying, right? That's fine. Do whatever you want to do. I'm just happy for me that I no longer feel the need to respond. I no longer feel the need to have to justify my existence, to have to justify my experiences, to have to prove anything to anybody, because I am okay and I'm at peace at this point just being me. And the other thing too that I think that's really helped is when you come out of illness, and I'm not quite there. Like, I mean, you guys can see there's so many differences physically in the way I'm coming across. I'm a lot calmer. I'm a lot happier. You know, I've always been a joyful person. You guys just didn't get to see that, unfortunately. And it makes sense. I'm not blaming y'all. Like, I get why, right? It's the situation. But I'm just so grateful to be alive, to get so close to not being alive so many times, and to have so many people not believe you, and to have to fight as hard as I have to stay on this planet in the body I am. I'm genuinely so insanely grateful to be here. That kind of killed any need to feel like I have to justify, because I found that deep inner strength in myself to fight for myself and say, you deserve to be here. And I will say, as much as it's been horrific, and I don't wish it upon anyone to go through the health stuff I've gone through, and I know a lot of you guys go through health stuff that's watched me, and I'm praying for you guys too, because I hope, you know, if you're lucky enough like I was, there are ways you can come out of it. I no longer have to justify myself, my existence, my experiences. People can feel however they want, and that's their choice. I just am going to choose to be so grateful to be alive that I don't want to waste any day, any second, even the days that are bad. Like, you guys don't know, I don't feel great filming this. I'm really tired. I'm having some physical issues. I'm having stomach issues today. Now, I can function through it, and it's you know, even though it feels bad to most people, like to most people who aren't used to being sick, they'd be feeling pretty bad, right? In my case, this is 5 to 10% of what it used to be. So it's functionable, right? But even on the days I don't feel good, even the days or days I'm kind of going through something, 'cause that happens too. We're human, it's everybody. I'm just so grateful to be here. And I'm so grateful I found the strength to fight for myself. And I just wanted to impart that on anybody who might be going through some of this, who might have those similar family dynamics, who might be going through health issues, because that's a really big theme with chronic health issues, and not just chronic health issues, but let's also be very specific in that women's health issues. We aren't believed. The weight of the world is on our shoulders with every responsibility that other people and men, many times, not all the time, hashtag not all men, fail us with. And we're just expected to pick up the slack. We're not given enough tools to be able to take care of ourselves and really, help ourselves in the way that we need to, and to fix our situations and to help our situations. And then we're not believed. We're not believed. And we're not believed about our health issues. It's only been over the last 10 or 20 years a shift in taking things like postpartum seriously and understanding, oh yeah, women's hormones are a thing and they have a big role to play in health. We still are very underfunded for that. I'll have a video come out about this soon, about body positivity and why I think there's some hidden, how do I put this? I think it's a good thing, but I also think it's a distraction from the real issues that I want to get into. And it's stuff that, again, I like to give points of view on stuff you probably won't hear a lot of other places, because I'm not going to just give you popular opinion. I'm going to try to go as deep as I can on something and see if I can see something that maybe people miss or overlook in a lot of times with my experiences. But let me know, have you gone through this in the comments? Have you gone through kind of being the unwanted person in your family or relationships, or had chronic illness and people didn't believe you? Have you gone through that feeling like you have to over-explain and justify yourself and justify your existence? It's hard. And I'll tell you, with this, people pointed it out, and I couldn't, even though they pointed it out, it wasn't something I was able to fix when they pointed it out. It was kind of a journey. You know how sometimes there are things it's just a journey and a process you have to go through, and that's kind of what I've been through, and I feel like I'm on the other side, and I can tell you that, it gets better. And if you can come out of this and you can find, if you dig deep enough and if you're in the right situations when the time is right for you, you end up getting this deep sense of strength and peace. And at the end of the day, what is strength but just finding greater peace, right? And I can just feel really peaceful, and I'm just so happy existing, and I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed to have the few people I have around me, even though I don't have family, and that's hard, family that's not hurtful to me. I'm so blessed for the few people who've been there and have told me that, you are a wonderful person and you deserve to be alive. And I appreciate that, and I thank all those people. So, okay, I think I'm going to end this video here. I'm getting emotional. I don't want to do that. Okay, guys, take care. Lots of hugs, kisses. Till the next video. I'll see you soon. I'm wishing everybody well and lots of love. Bye, guys.